If I were to just drop a couple other clips on here and I save it, you should just be able to right-click in the bin itself and go to refresh bins. That'll refresh the timeline, and then that should ripple through to your timeline.
So while the timeline's locked out, I can work on the color page in parallel.
Yes, absolutely. And I actually get this yellow refresh button on the top right of my screen. It also shows me which clips he worked on. So if I click the refresh icon, I can now see that that clip has been colored in real time.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Matt. Now Hawaii looks like Hawaii, thanks to you.
Yeah, it's great. It opens up some interesting opportunities. We've had like the director in one room working with the editor and the DP in the next room working with the colorist to dial in a grade for a preview screening. And then the director could kind of be in two places at once because he could just hit refresh when he wants to see how they're progressing. So that was pretty cool, a use case.
Editing and coloring at the same time. I mean, that's just really, really interesting. I've never seen anything like that personally. If someone is editing with the latest version of DaVinci and somebody else is working with a different version of the software, maybe hasn't the latest, would that create any issue with syncing, communication, screens, I guess, sending, anything like that? Would that be a problem or not?
Matt might have a better understanding of this. I saw a dialogue prompt today that said everybody that uses this has to be on 18.1 or above to be working out of the same server. I think 18 and lower, you wouldn't be able to use the same server, if I'm not mistaken, Matt. I think I saw something about that today somewhere.
Yeah, in general, too, you do want to actually be on the same version. So, like, I think we're probably all on 18.6.4, I would guess.
Yeah.
That's the recommendation, to make sure everybody's on the same version of the software.
Is there a way for, let's say, a producer just wants to kind of jump in, look at the footage? Is there a way, like, around not having to be in a project, if that makes sense? Like, is there a way for them to screen footage, sort of like, or do they have to be in the project as a collaborator to do that?
Yeah, so to do it actually in the timeline, you would need to do so through Resolve, through the project. You could review the footage that's been downloaded to your computer independent of Resolve. And then there's two other options too. One is called presentations. And basically what that allows you to do is an editor can publish a timeline to a review page that then the producer can review, put notes on, and those notes actually end up back on the editor's timeline. You can do actually kind of a synced review if you have multiple people that enter that presentation room at the same time. So Justin's got a presentation he's setting up here, or I can show mine, Justin, if you want.
Yeah, if you have a couple as an example. I don't have any as an example, but it's basically a better version of Frame.io, if you guys are familiar with that.
Okay, so we're looking at my presentations. These are all, they're kind of like our libraries, but for presentations. They're presentation rooms, per se. So if I click on my client presentations room here.
Seems like you get dark on there.
These are all different timelines that I've published. If you want to make some comments like I've done here, I will go to my markers and make a comment, cut, shot, shorter. And I would add that marker, and that marker shows back up on my timeline or the editor's timeline. Now, if I share this presentation with multiple people, so you can see here I've got a bunch of collaborators, I can click share to invite anybody that has a Blackmagic ID to this presentation. Anybody can jump in and review and leave comments. And if they happen to be in the room at the same time, I can enable my webcam and my microphone so we can actually do a video conference and talk about the footage that we're reviewing together. Not only that, if I own this presentation, like you see I have a little crown icon here, I can click this link icon and that syncs everybody's playhead together. So when I play, everybody's footage is playing, and when I pause, we're all stopped on the exact same frame. So that's really good form of kind of collaborating for a producer to kind of see what's going on.
You said something about the editor sees the the comment you made, but that's all online, right? Or does it translate into the software? I don't know if there's any communication there.
Yeah, it translates to the software actually.
Great.
So if I go ahead and open up my Resolve here, if I wanted to publish this to presentations, I can either go to Quick Export and go to my presentations and choose the place I want to send it to. So let's say I want to go ahead and send it to, I'm going to send it to my client presentations example. I'd export that. It'll take just a minute or two. And once it's up there, I'll put on some comments and you'll see they'll show up as kind of unique markers on this timeline.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So you can do it from that quick export, or you can do the same thing from the deliver page. There's a presentations preset. What I need to do if I want to send it to presentations with proxies as my render source, I would do that from the deliver page, go to presentations, and then turn on the use proxy media option. And now when I go back to my presentations, my timeline is there with all the footage, and I can throw down a marker. Let's see, marker, test. I'm gonna add that marker and it'll show up on our timeline here, right here.
Awesome. That's great.
And as an editor, I can actually reply to this and say, I don't want to do that note because of XYZ, or you got it next time. One thing collaboration-wise that might be worth mentioning is the remote monitoring. So it kind of allows an editor to have a supervised session with the director when they're remote. To do that, all you have to do is go to Workspace, go to Remote Monitoring, and that brings up this option here where you can choose your flavor that you're sending. And this is a color accurate feed. Somebody on the other side can be receiving this signal on their Mac, their PC, or their iPhone or their iPad. The iPad is actually high enough quality where you can actually review the HDR grade through the iPad, and Resolve will manage the color space. So there's a little app called the Remote Monitor app, which is a little bit small to look at, but I just have to sign in with my Blackmagic ID. Yeah, so basically I'm getting my playback here on the phone and I'm getting playback from Resolve. So this is how you can do a managed session for a director or anybody else, producer that wants to review live with the editor. There you go.
Awesome.
And if I scrub around, you'll see, yep, it updates. And again, there's a color accurate feed. So yes, editorial can use it, but colorists can also use it. You can have them use one of the newer iPads. Resolve controls that color space, so they're seeing exactly what they should be seeing, instead of giving you notes from a terrible monitor with a weird setting.
Transcriptions that when you do a paper cut translates into a timeline, right, Matt? Like you do a paper cut, it drops all the media into the timeline automatically?
Yeah, that's right. I can show real quick what that looks like if you guys want to see.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I'll share my screen here. It's actually a really cool feature. I'm using it on a demo I'm doing right now. So I'm going to change project libraries here. This is one that I own. And go to demos, collab session. So I did a Zoom recording of a session I did. This is the timeline I've assembled so far. I selected my MP4 here, which was the recording that ScreenFlow did. I clicked this transcribe button. And so it'll transcribe any of the clips I have selected in the media pool. And so if I click that open, this is already transcribed. That's why it popped open so quick. But you'll see this is the entire clip transcribed. So I can play it down, listening. So I can listen to this, and as I'm finding, the sections I want to include, I can highlight them. And then I have this append or insert button here. So I've selected this range of text, and I can go ahead and insert that at the end of my timeline. And so it's a really great way to do straight from your transcription a paper cut to your timeline. Additionally, you can do text search. So I can look for, a particular phrase, let's say, I remember that we talked about, a backpack or whatever in an interview. And so I can search for that, and it'll bring up any of the instances of that backpack. You can also select multiple clips and search all the clips at once and basically navigate from clip to clip with this left and right arrow here. So really powerful kind of feature to help your editing process So it goes for the clips in the time or in the media pool, and you can also transcribe a timeline as well. So if I go to timeline, I can go to create subtitles from audio, and it'll create my subtitle track for me.
I just got done with a project and we had to do a lot of transcription. This could have saved me a lot of hours of headache.
Aaron, you've had a little experience cutting your short in Resolve. What are you thinking now that you have the media drop into your desk right there before your eyes? What do you think?
The collaboration aspect's really cool. Like I was debating whether or not this could work on a long form doc, but seeing as how you're able to share timelines and make notes, and I feel like this would also be really helpful for like a story editor, just doing like a rough assembly or pulling lines out of a transcript is really cool.
There's so many more tools that we're not even touching on right now, like sound. You can mix sound in there, right? You can do all your VFX in there. You can export it. There's like literally no reason to leave this project. We didn't even scratch the surface of all the other capabilities of using the Resolve thing, because you literally don't need to. Is there anything that you need to do outside of Resolve to deliver a show? Not really, right? Am I missing something?
No, literally nothing. You can even deliver, the HDR Dolby Vision Pass, the Dolby Atmos directly out of Resolve as well. So yeah, you can literally do it all 100% in Resolve.